was going to be an immersion trip, and I just thought, okay, so one of the things we're going to do is we were going to go to a village and we were going to learn to make some crafts and work with the people in the village to do that. But I really didn't know anything in advance about the people, what their life was like, or anything like that. It just said it was part of Pastor Florian's community. Into Dodoma and going to Florian's house after we landed, and I was looking at the landscape, and I happened to notice there were these interesting granite rocks over on the one side of the road, and it looked like in most cases, they had just rolled there or they had been dropped there. But in one case, there were like these interesting finger-like rocks jutting out, and it just occurred to me that how God created everything, and he created it just the way he wanted to be. And everywhere you go in the world, there is something unique that shows God's creativity and his plan for the world, so that we see God in the world. And not only did he create the place where Pastor Florian lived and his community lives, but the people there to live there, and how much he loved the people there. And Pastor Florian reflected that so beautifully, because we found out that 3 times a week he would go into various areas not close to his house or his church and play the Jesus film for people. And it was just so beautifully done, because he had other pastors from other churches and denominations working with him, and they would stop the film at various places, explain what Jesus did for them, then run it, and then stop it and really share the gospel, explain what it meant to them personally. People in this community coming together and doing the things they could do to make any kind of money so that they could eat. And we saw them making pottery. We saw them picking from the baobab tree and boiling the fruit, adding spices to it, and picking tamarind seeds, carving. They worked over and over again to refine these pots. They had these little tools they would scrape the pots with and make them as beautiful as possible. They took great pride in their work. I saw the women shelling peanuts. I did a little bit of that with them, and then grinding them. And the process was long, and they worked so very hard. And then the rest of our party, who was strong enough to walk, went to the water source that these people had, which was, I don't know, half an hour to 45-minute walk away in the hot sun. And when they got there, there was a line of people to get water, and there was very little water anyone could get. They began to bring out food for lunch, and they shared everything they had with us. And the pastors got up and gave a very simple gospel message. And at the end, they asked if anyone believed, and quite a few of the children and young people prayed to accept Christ. And the thing that I just felt overwhelmed with is we're all part of the family of God. Happiness that I could even be there to witness that day. And I thought, if our trip helped even one person see who Jesus is, it would be worth it. Doesn't matter how much it cost me personally. What an incredible experience and privilege to be able to do that. And we went away that day just wanting to do something to help them get water, or to help them make the money they needed to live. And later, David came up with the idea of maybe having them make furniture to help a local school that needed furniture. That way, this tribe could make the money they needed to live, and the school could get the furniture that they needed for their students. And it would be a sustainable idea, not just us giving money. And it all fit, to me, into the picture of what Sustainable Med is trying to do. We're not just giving handouts, we're trying to bring people together around the love of Christ to help each other. Challenging part of the trip, if I'm honest, it might have been having to wash my hair in a bucket of cold water. And I just didn't foresee how long that would take, but trying to use as little water as I could and get the shampoo, put the shampoo in, get it out, and bend over a bucket. And it took me, I don't know how long, it seemed like close to an hour to get my hair washed. The one thing that stands out that I learned was how hard people work under the most, what I would consider, difficult circumstances. And they worked so hard and for so long and with so little water that I take for granted. We have to be teachable. We're learning things from people who are very different from us, from Christians who have a different perspective, from people who live very differently. And I think one way I can apply that is to remember I always need to be teachable. Certainly teachable by God first, and to be open by what other people have to show me. I don't know everything, but God does.